Vietnam. I came back 1 year ago, so therefore I was extremely delighted to be asked if I wanted to moderate this seminar because ASEAN is still very much at my heart. It's a very, very good occasion to have this seminar since it's the 50th anniversary of ASEAN. Now I'm heading the Department for Export Promotion at the Ministry for Foreign Affairs. So ASEAN is also professionally very much at the forefront of my mind. In our export strategy, we also want to facilitate for small and medium-sized enterprises to find the way to the growth markets, to the emerging markets. We want our own companies to reach even higher up in the value chains. We want to increase Sweden's attractiveness to investments. And we want to continue to market our environmentally sustainable solutions. And we want some of our companies to go, as we say, go global directly. Some of the companies in the ICT sector, gaming, music, design, they might not have to grow big in Sweden before they go in the global market. They could go global directly. In our export strategy, we also want to facilitate for small and medium-sized enterprises to find the way to the growth markets, to the emerging markets. We want our own companies to reach even higher up in the value chains. We want to increase Sweden's attractiveness to investments.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, to all of you from the business sector. Thank you for your participation in the ASEAN Business and Investment Forum 2017 with the theme Bridge to ASEAN. To our moderator Camilla, thank you for your very interesting introduction and congratulations. Your business show was voted the best trade mission. Of course, to officials from Business Sweden, Tobias is here. Thank you very much for your support and involvement with us, the ASEAN Group. And to all my colleagues from the ASEAN embassies, thank you for the great teamwork that we had, that enabled us to have this event today. And last of all, good morning to all of us for this wonderful Friday morning. Thank you for coming.
Now I have the honor to introduce Mr. Tobias Glitterstrand to the floor, Vice President for Asia and Pacific at Business Sweden.
Good morning, everybody. So it's a great honor and pleasure to be here. So before I get started, I just wanted to express my appreciation to the ASEAN committee and the very strong lineup of ambassadors and your staff in the different embassies here in Stockholm. I was asked to provide a bit of a market outlook as a backdrop, APAC as a whole, because it's really integrated the development in the entire region, and then start to go into ASEAN specifically before I hand it to some of my colleagues, and then we will have some excellent case studies and companies operating in these markets on the ground. There are two messages I will leave you with before I wrap up, and that is there is really huge potential in all the ASEAN markets, and the Swedish products and offerings really have a very good fit with the needs. So my message will be that we should go for doubling our presence as a whole. And there needs to be a very good excuse for your companies as well if you would not have the same target to actually double your business in ASEAN.
I'd like to welcome up on stage Anders Wickberg, who is Trade Commissioner for Indonesia, and you will talk about the potential of ASEAN for Swedish companies.
Thank you very much for that introduction, Camilla, and Your Excellencies. It's great to be here, fellow colleagues of the business sector. Good morning. So we already introduced in terms of our roles. What we will discuss today is to dig a little bit deeper into the ASEAN markets based on the introduction that was given by Tobias just now. What we just heard is that the ASEAN markets are growing rapidly. It's the 7th largest economy in the world, and you do need to go big to capture this growth before your competitors do so. We want to take a step back a little bit and also look at what have some of the major driving forces been behind this very fast growth, and the top driving forces are these three. So a mix between infrastructure, manufacturing, and consumption, which has worked as a positive spiral for the region. We have seen when the manufacturing sector have been a huge driving force as attracting FDI and being a force behind the GDP growth of all of the 10 ASEAN countries. This in itself has spurred the middle class, has increased the urbanization, and hence so also highly increased the consuming sector. And as Tobias mentioned in the intro as well, this of course leads to a demand of other types of infrastructure services.
A couple of slides just to dig into each of these sectors and potentials. And as we've been pointing out several times now, they are really interconnected, but also they are in their own very interesting. Infrastructure in these type of countries, in these emerging markets, is of course there's a huge need still. And looking at what we call the infrastructure stock, the actual need of it, many of the ASEAN countries to invest and continue invest in infrastructure is immense. There's estimated that $3.5 trillion needed in investments in the next 15 years, which goes in all infrastructure type of sectors, in ICT to support all the digital transformations going on, in energy, in water, in roads, in harbors, etc. And I'm sure Scania and Roma will give some examples of that as well. The needs differ slightly between the countries, and like Tobias and Vivian pointed out, this is a heterogeneous market looking at ASEAN as a whole, whereas for those of you who have been to Singapore, it's quite advanced already. And on the other hand, Indonesia, which is the market currently investing the most in these type of infrastructure projects, have still a long way to go. Infrastructure in these type of countries, in these emerging markets, is of course there's a huge need still. And looking at what we call the infrastructure stock, the actual need of it, many of the ASEAN countries to invest and continue invest in infrastructure is immense. There's estimated that $3.5 trillion needed in investments in the next 15 years, which goes in all infrastructure type of sectors, in ICT to support all the digital transformations going on, in energy, in water, in roads, in harbors, etc. And I'm sure Scania and Roma will give some examples of that as well. The needs differ slightly between the countries, and like Tobias and Vivian pointed out, this is a heterogeneous market looking at ASEAN as a whole, whereas for those of you who have been to Singapore, it's quite advanced already. And on the other hand, Indonesia, which is the market currently investing the most in these type of infrastructure projects, have still a long way to go. This also is spurred by urbanization, which also drives the need for quite advanced actually solutions in, for example, smart cities, etc.
I would like to welcome up on stage Ted Göransson, Project Director at Scania, and Vikram Raman, Vice President from Bromma Concrete, who will share their experiences.
Selamat pagi, Xin chào, magandang umaga, Sawadee, Kumrepsur, Mingalabar. Good morning, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Southeast Asianists. We at Scania are very honored to be invited to this forum and to be given the opportunity to share our view of ASEAN and our experience of doing business in the region. My name is Ted Göransson, and I've been working with ASEAN in one way or another for the last 6 years. I've been working directly with all countries in the region, except for Cambodia and Laos. And I've been living and working in Indonesia, and currently in Thailand, where I'm running a project to expand our industrial and commercial presence in the region. Scania has traditionally been seen, and we have seen ourselves, primarily as a manufacturer of heavy-duty trucks, buses and engines, and provider of related services for the transport industry. But the world is changing, and more importantly, the climate is changing, and our industry is a major part of the problem, as we stand for about 15% of the global emissions of greenhouse gases. However, we also believe that we are a vital part of the solution. The world needs a shift towards a sustainable transport system, and we are now taking the lead in driving that shift. With these goals as a base, our strategy is built on 3 pillars: energy efficiency, alternative fuels and electrification, and smart and safe transport.
It's a very small niched company, so I thought I would just explain a bit about what we do and how we operate. and then of course our experiences in Malaysia, where we have our base. So we are actually in the logistics and shipping industry. So we actually build spreaders, that they call. They look like this, and they lift containers. So they are actually situated on these big cranes that carry containers. And we've seen in the last 20 years a huge shift of trade, exactly as what we've heard the whole of today, and increase of consumption. So we took our step actually into Asia very, very early, because we could see the changes in the trade balance.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure being here. My name is CJ Carlson, I represent EKN. I believe most of you know what EKN is. We're a governmental authority. I spent 20 years outside. I was with Tetra Pak. I was managing director for Tetra Pak's export finance company. And why do I say that? As such, I was actually effectively the 13th largest customer of EKN. So I used to be a customer, and now I'm at the management team of EKN. EKN sees strong interest for doing business with Asian countries. Just to make a short summary of this introduction also is, when I joined EKN, I was given a very easy task. The board, and at that time Camilla was not on board, but they said CJ will make this very easy. The objective is to double the export. We'll give you 2 years to double, and we have done that. And now I'm talking about explicitly SME companies. We have a very strong push now in EKN for SMEs and mid-corp. Scania, ABB, Ericsson, they have been there for many years. They know us. Record level of SME export to Asia. This is a press release that we went out with in June. It's very interesting, we picked this up. There's such a strong interest for Asia, ASEAN countries.
So now time has come for a short ceremony to commemorate the ASEAN 50-year anniversary. So I would like to invite on stage all the honorable ambassadors from ASEAN countries, as well as the other ASEAN representatives. After that, we'll have a short coffee break, and I would like you all to be back here by 10:55. Thank you.
No first take without a cake.
Before you leave, there's a cake for birthday. There's also should be some little kind of present or something. So if you just hold on, we will ask the presenters also to go to the stage.
Okay, I would like to invite Ambassador of Malaysia to deliver to Mr. Tobias. This is present from Malaysian side.
Yeah, congratulations. Thank you so much.
To invite Miss Maria, from Philippines, to give a token of appreciation to Mr. Anders Beck. This one, sorry. Mr. Anders. Bagas, appreciation of to Miss Vivian Gilman, and representative from Vietnam. Token appreciation to Scania. And ambassador from Thailand. William from Roma. And Ambassador Laos. From Mr. Carl Yuan.
I will invite His Excellency Mr. Bagas Haposoro up on stage, Ambassador to Indonesia, a market of 250 million consumers. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Camilla. Morning, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It is a real pleasure for me to convey my great admiration, also appreciation to the ASEAN Committee in Stockholm, chaired by Malaysia, Ambassador Nurlin Othman, together with our colleagues in Stockholm. My name is Bagas Haposoro. I've been 18 months in Stockholm. I enjoy very much, and growing some understanding about Indonesia is one of my key points, but more importantly, growing understanding about ASEAN. 600 million people living in ASEAN is a huge market. Today I'm going to share a brief presentation on the ASEAN economic integration, your opportunities. I'm glad that previous speaker has already mentioned about the ASEAN, and thanks Tobias, Anders, and also Vivian, and our colleague Vikram. Now I would just like to make some highlights about the ASEAN. We start with the history. It's been 50 years on. We have ASEAN because of ending of colonialism, the ending of Cold War, and at the same time also we need to move forward after having some turbulence, I would say, after the influence by a lot of big major powers influence in Southeast Asia. I just want to skip this part. This is the big point, the hotspot that I can say that 1997, 1998, you will see that the problem that we have at the time is the crisis. So this is the global financial crisis. You can see that you can imagine that all currencies in the ASEAN member states at the time were melting down. Thailand currency, but was crashed. Malaysia ringgit also fell down. Singapore dollar and Lao kip as well. Rupiah from Indonesia were crippled. I think not only happened in ASEAN but also in other regional groupings, other states. So no country was immune because of the crisis at the time. So therefore, the leaders mentioned that we must work together. ASEAN must be solid, politically, economically must be viable, and also socio-cultural. Socio-cultural, everyone must have understanding. Every citizen of ASEAN must have the so-called ownership. Otherwise, it will be a problem for us. That's number one. And number two is we really want to have embark to the global player, into global player. We will see in the next slide. After having been centralized with the economy, we really want to open. We need to also fully in line with the rules of government procurement, the rules of non-trade barriers, measures, and other things. This is AEC, region marked by a single market and production base, and a region of equitable economic, and later on integrated into the global economy. This is the last part that we are going to have, and we are playing now. A lot of concepts coming in. When we discuss with ASEAN dialogue partners, with the US, with Russia, with China, with EU, important player, how we move toward this, how to make this cooperation better. A lot of issues like TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership, with United States, and United States also abandoned this idea together with climate change. And other issue also, we work with the RCEP, regional comprehensive economic partnership together with all other players, dialogue partners in ASEAN. I don't want to take a lot of time on this issue. This is where we are. Currently, we have a strong economic growth of 4.8%, and mainly supported by a lot of, FDI to the region in 2016 last year, approaching 96.72 billion US dollar. And this one already mentioned by a lot of speakers who have spoken before me. But last part, I'm going to mention a little bit later on tourism. 109 million international tourists, including from Spain, visited ASEAN member states, and I have a lot of competitors here. Thailand also, our competitor, in good sense. And then after Thailand, Vietnam, emerging. So for us, this is a very fair competition. I will tell later a bit on this one. I don't want to repeat this one. This is also one of the good story. You will see that we are here. Others, as you can see here, because the World Bank mentioned that by the end of this year, 2017, the global economic growth will be reached 2.7%. And East Asia, South Asia will reach this one 6%. ASEAN will share 4.8%. And I agree with Ambassador Camila and other speakers. This is the future of cooperation. And you have at least a market there. One thing that we must not forget is about the situation that we have. This is intellectual property regime, the pro-business, as I said before, that we are embarked on moving to the global player. We send a lot of people to study about WTO trade policy, about EU business practice, about the transparency and other things. That's why we move on this direction. That one also, Swedish companies can not only test and develop existing prototypes, but also create new technology and solutions for the Southeast Asia and wider ASEAN market. I can also add the robotic technology, which is for us still new, but we send a lot of students to come to Luleo, to come to Lund, to come also to Koteho to study work and work hard on this. And we press every ASEAN member ambassador here try to have a lot of students coming from ASEAN to study here. I think we can work together to develop innovative technology, particularly in areas like medical technology and healthcare. This is something that already mentioned by Tobias. And this one also, something that I just want to mention, the last part that this is statement by Minister for Infrastructure in Jakarta, the last one. When it comes to digital transformation, Sweden and ASEAN are a perfect match. The increase of the business to ASEAN on ecotourism, I'm so happy that today we have among you the player of the tourism. I don't want to mention name, but they are really, really good in having how to promote. And this is win-win situation for us all. On this, just to give example, increase the business to ASEAN on ecotourism is Thailand and Indonesia connected a festival, cultural festival, just only a month ago, this year at the same place but different time at Kungsred Garden. I think it was a door opener of achieving a better understanding about the beautiful island and exotic beaches in ASEAN. And we were so delighted. And I heard that other ambassadors would also like to have the similar cultural activities, not only in Kungsred Gardens, but also others. This one. Many Swedish companies are leaders in their respective fields, especially in innovation. I think this is a phenomenon that we have to make it as a symbol of the innovation that we have. I just to mention that the most well-known today, we exactly already heard about the success of Scania, Sharp, and other things, Spotify, and other, no, it's not advertising, but I mention here, They have already their footprint there, especially this one. ASEAN remains a region with diverse cultures and differing levels of economic development. Differing economic development from the advanced ASEAN member states to Singapore, and also some LDCs that we still have, because we have. But we are one, just one. The close relation between EU and ASEAN reflects the importance that European Union places on ASEAN integration process and its contribution toward peace, stability, and prosperity. I put this one in highlight, prosperity. And I know exactly with my footnote here that Sweden is an active player in the EU and also as a member of UN Security Council. So we must consider from ASEAN that Sweden is our good friend on this issue. Last but not least, we welcome Sweden companies to do business in ASEAN. This is my last slide. We did the ASEAN Family Day Stockholm under the chairmanship of Ambassador Nurlin Othman. So, and I'm going to conclude with Malaysia for the best winner of the SEA Games. And you will have a holiday this coming Monday. Big applause. Thank you very much.
Time has come for questions and answers. So please remain on stage. Of Ambassador of Malaysia, Nurlin Othman. Please come up on stage. Unfortunately, Carl-Johan Carlson had to leave us from EKN. He was about to hire more people because he has so much to do, so that was a good thing.
He's seeing 15 companies in average per day as well, right?
And he's seeing 15 companies in average per day. I hope now that you have several questions, and please raise your hand. And when you get the microphone, please present yourselves, and please also tell me to whom you are directing your questions, so it will be easy to start the questions and answers session. Okay, we have the microphones ready?
Yeah, all right.
Very good. All right, so who will be the first one out?
Is that okay for me to mention?
Yes, because we should also be honest.
Right.
Good.
You know, there has been a harsh action toward the corruptor. If you follow very closely the newspaper, what is pop up, a lot of gratification. But the government of Indonesia, I can only speak on behalf of Indonesia, not ASEAN, very harsh action on this issue. No impunity, especially for the corruptor. Just to mention, because it's everywhere, one of the DG responsible for sea transportation just caught and detained because of the graft. And other issue, one mayor also, just 3 days ago. So there is no impunity on that issue, just to make sure. And I agree with all presenters. You need to have a right person to follow you, to escort it. I'm so happy that we have Anders Wittberg. It's very, very close with Swedish companies whenever come to Indonesia, and also other friends, I guess, Vivian as well. But for us, at least in my institution, the Embassy of Indonesia in Stockholm, we always happy to escort you. Whenever you gather this one and have a trade mission to Indonesia, or having fun trip to Indonesia, we'll be happy to send one of my colleagues. So maybe I can introduce also Ibu Rahma. This is Ibu Rahma with the economic section, and also Ibu Ira. This Ibu Ira is here. Thank you very much.
Yes, and we should be honest. There is red tape, there is corruption. Not only in Asia, we see it of course in other parts of the world, so it's not unique. But this is why you need to think thoroughly about with whom you enter into a partnership.
So the question is, what are the other countries doing? You know, do we have some examples of what they're doing that we are not doing in order for us to catch up with them?
Yes. You see that this is open market. You have a lot of competitors, but nobody will win this competitor except Nordic, and Sweden is there. Sweden is in the heart, I can say over here, Nordic. Because transparency, because innovation, because of openness. And for us, this is plus point. It's really a remarkable point. This pro-government, pro-people government always think that you must be transparent, otherwise it will be a lot of problem. Not only Indonesia, but also ASEAN. Because ASEAN mentioned that ASEAN is people-driven organization, rule-based organization, and must be aspired to others. But we know, we recognize every state, every ASEAN member state has its own political system. So we respect on this, and there is no interference with this. But for sure, just to mention that a lot of plus point here, dealing with Sweden and Swedish companies. What we really need to do to work together is have a lot of engagement like this, especially awareness, building awareness. This is much more important. It is like I just mentioned, but ASEAN must have a socio-cultural dimension. It is we should have ownership. Otherwise, people will say that, oh, this is elite organization. No, it's not elite. This is for you. This is for people. I hope this is satisfying. Thank you very much for the question.
Thank you.
I believe it's more internally oriented than the external market conditions. Not to say that these markets are easy to enter. I believe that we saw some nice graphs here from the ambassador before. If we consider the exceptional growth of China.
There are a lot of progress on this issue. Whenever we discuss it, the ASEAN Secretary, because I was a former Deputy Secretary General, a lot of talking, discuss, and certainly we need to have some understanding also from our trade union, from our stakeholders back home, especially in Indonesia. So how to, same like this also, how to make an outreach to the people who will decide that they will be active player. And we don't want that they just wait and see on that very issue. So for us to give a lot of information, especially on the issue of sanitary and phytosanitary, because a lot of products coming from Indonesia, there's a lot of problem. Whenever we discuss at the Brussels, people will say that, oh, this is not according, not in compliance with the EU standard, something like that. But no issue with the Thailand products, no issue with the Vietnam. You will see that here are a lot of ASEAN store, that a lot of, but we are still discussing on this very issue. Other on this issue also in the services, trade and services, a lot of issues that we need to have more understanding from the EC part, European Union part. And I think that's a matter of time. But if you can just loan him something about the master plan of ASEAN connectivity, we need a lot of some phase of gradation from one phase to another. Take into account also the level of development from our LDC's member of
First step
ASEAN.
is maybe to have the students from Asia coming here, and then we have collaborations with the universities in Asia, and then they can go in the other direction. I see Tor, I don't know if you want to mention anything about the scholarship that you have.
I'm glad to hear the question because I think it's highly relevant. We're a small foundation, and we have just started a We've just started a scholarship together with SSC, the Stockholm School of Economics, and the National University of Singapore. But the long-term mission of the foundation is to create what we call talent entrepreneurial ambassadors from both regions. Sweden is what we see as an opportunity for businesses in Southeast Asia to establish themselves in Europe. It's kind of a portal for Europe, hopefully in the future.
And Sweden and also ASEAN is the concept of smart cities. Everyone's for everyone, starting from urbanization, and then waste management, energy and transportation. We learned a lot, and the mayor of Bandung would also like to make a sister city with the city of Lund. So I think this is a big plus that you have, and you proved this one. Thank you very much.
If there is no other question, I think we almost kept time and we've come to the end of our discussions. I think we have some lunch waiting.
So this is to thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Rest our flag, high, sky high. born as one, look in our word to the world. For peace now go from the very start, and for prosperity to last. We dare to dream, we dare to share together for ASEAN. We dare to dream, we dare to share for this the way of ASEAN. Raise our flag high, sky high, embrace the pride in our heart. ASEAN, we are born as one.